Anything? No? How about them? Anything? Sorry. No, you're okay.
Okay, we'll call this meeting to order. Please bear with us. The mics have been going in and out according to the manager. So we'll have to speak up to make sure everybody can hear us. They kind of work, they kind of don't. I think there may be more static than actual volume, so just hang with us. Okay, first order of business, the approval of the minutes from February 17th.
I'd like to make a motion.
All right. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I would like to know if we can allow, I'd like to resolution, can we allow people to speak at the end of this meeting?
I was going to put that under new business. I was going to wait and see when the resolution was resolved.
Okay, but I think you have to put the agenda items on now.
But that's the purpose of new business.
Speak without the mic, we can't hear anything back here.
Don't worry, we're just squabbling.
We want to hear the squabbles.
We were trying to figure out when we needed to put this on the agenda. Okay, so.
Well, you need to just turn the
Speak
mics off.
without the mic, turn them off, we
nothing but
can't
static.
hear.
Well,
People's
go ahead, we'll just vote on the agenda.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I move we approve the agenda.
I second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Approval of new registrations and, or I'm sorry, approval of minutes. The minutes.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the February 17th meeting.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Who seconded the minutes?
I did.
Thank you.
Okay, new registrations and statistics.
I move we accept the new registration and statistics pending review.
52.
52?
52.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the next item is a public comment resolution. You should have that in your packets.
Okay, the public doesn't know what's in here, so
Okay, is there,
could we,
I was gonna say, is there a motion to,
motion to, yeah, okay. I move that we accept the resolution for public comment before the Watauga County Board of Elections.
okay.
I second.
Okay, now there's discussion, and I think that the public needs to know what the public gets to do, okay? I will try to read this loud, and if not, I'll make Bill do it, or Luke. Okay, let's see, I'm gonna skip the whereases with the permission of the chairman. Okay, no whereases. Now therefore, it is hereby resolved by the Watauga County Board of Elections. 1, the Watauga County Board of Elections may receive public comment at its regularly scheduled meetings as time may allow. The period for receiving public comment, I just lost my place, at these meetings shall be for a period up to 30 minutes, which may be extended or altered at the discretion of the board. Each speaker will have a maximum of 2 minutes to address the board. The Watauga County Elections Director shall serve as timekeeper for each speaker. No time may be yielded to a speaker by another speaker. Persons who wish to address the board shall register on a sign-up sheet that will be available in the board's meeting room. We have the sign-up sheet available?
We do.
Anywhere?
We do.
Okay.
Yes.
Where is it?
It's right here.
Okay.
Yeah. If you bring it and just lay it here.
All right. The sign-up sheet
Thank you.
will be available 15 minutes before the start of the comment period.
So it's available now.
Well,
It's available
If
now.
this passes. If this passes.
Okay, if this passes, right, okay. Speakers will be acknowledged by the board in the order in which their names appear on the sign-up sheet. Speakers will address the board from a lectern set up by the elections director and begin their remarks by stating their name and address. Address? That's going to take a long time. Public comment is not intended to require the board to answer any impromptu questions, and the board will not engage in a dialogue with the speaker. Any action on items brought up during the comment period will be at the discretion of the board following the completion of the comment period. All comments shall be concise and addressed to the Board of Elections as a whole and shall be related to the work of the Watauga County Board of Elections. Speakers shall not discuss matters deemed to be closed session type issues. For instance, personnel matters, litigation, matters made confidential by law, or matters which may relate to the board's quasi-judicial functions. It's almost over. Speakers shall not discuss matters regarding the candidacy of any person seeking public office, including the candidacy of the person addressing the board. Speakers shall be courteous in their language and presentation. Profanity, obscenity, name-calling, or personal attacks will not be tolerated. Multimedia presentations, including audio or video presentations, are not allowed. Written comments or supporting documentation may be left with the Watauga County Elections Director. Due to the schedule of the Board of Elections, the need to proceed expeditiously with the quasi-judicial functions of the board, and the risk of receiving unsworn testimony in connection with its judicial functions, the Watauga County Board of Elections will not schedule public comment periods from the date one stop, no excuse absentee voting begins until the completion of canvass.
Any further discussion?
I would like to make a few friendly amendments on this, okay? And the one is, I think if people state their address, it's gonna take up a lot of time, so could we just have them state their name? That would be a friendly amendment, okay? So we'll
Well,
go with this.
I put that in there because I want to make sure that the people who are addressing our board are voters, registered voters in the county. I know that it would be bizarre for somebody to be out of county to come talk to us, but I just want to make sure.
Well, couldn't they put their address on the sign-up sheet, and then that would save time during the meeting? How about that?
I'm fine with that.
Could you make that in the form of a
Okay,
motion?
that's a friendly, we made the motion,
Well,
so
you said I think.
a friendly amendment.
I move to amend.
I move to amend,
Which,
okay.
see,
I move
that's
to amend number, since I find it,
4 and strike address from,
4, yes, and strike the address from this sentence.
okay.
So then included in the sign-in sheet, which is already part of
Is
that.
there a second for that motion?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye. Okay, I would like to change another friendly amendment. The board, number 5, where it says, public comment is not intended to require the board to answer any impromptu questions, and the board will not engage in a dialogue with a speaker. I would say something like, I think if you just took that out, that the board is not required to answer any impromptu questions, because you might decide you wanted to say something, an explanation, and there would be a dialogue.
Well,
So it
you-
would leave
I
the
mean, you as a-
dialogue open.
You as a board member could answer a question if asked, but it's not required of us, and that's pretty standard for most governmental boards.
But the way this is written, it says the board will not engage in a dialogue with the speaker. It doesn't, that's not part of the first
Well,
part of the sentence.
that's also to keep it concise, and this is pretty standard
Well-
for most governmental boards.
Well, how about just saying is not required to engage in a dialogue with the speaker? Could we not put those words in there? So it's more clear?
It's fine with me.
Okay, we are putting in then, this is my friendly amendment motion. The board is not required to engage in a dialogue with the speaker.
Which number is that?
That's number 5.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion on that?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any more discussion on the main motion to adopt the resolution of public comment? Okay, I'll call the question to adopt the resolution for public comment for the Watauga County Board of Elections. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, next item up to business is one-stop plan.
Right.
Are you gonna address the, do you start, Kathleen, or are you gonna address
You can start,
Okay.
that's fine, I'm pushing around here looking for my plan. You go ahead.
Okay, I've prepared a board, I guess everybody's to my left, to your right. It's the top board, and it has geographically centered, one-stop early voting locations. The state requires 272 hours. My proposal includes just over 300 hours. I think it's 305 hours. There's actually an increase from what the state is requiring us for the one-stop hours. And The locations, as you can tell, are centered throughout the county, as well as the admin building where we're currently located. That will be considered the voting place for in-town residents and also for folks that work at ASU or live, in the neighborhoods. It's an accessible voting location that is easily obtained by Apple Card, walking distance. And so this is my proposal to the board. I sent it yesterday to Jane and to Luke and Kathleen to review. And so I'd like to make a motion to adopt a one-stop plan that I submitted to the board yesterday for the 5-6, to be enforced at a 5-6 primary in a couple of months.
Let me look through it.
Okay.
Okay, and you are proposing, you need to put this in your motion, that you're proposing the county administration building rather than, because that's part of the
Technically,
one-stop
yes.
implementation plan.
But, I mean, this is what we're using as a resolution that you sent us, correct?
Was that already listed on here?
Yes.
Yeah,
It is. It's the first one.
Would you please speak into the microphone or turn it up a notch, please?
There is no notch, it's not working.
Oh, the mic's still-
The
Good
question,
afternoon.
our director asked a question about which site would be the courthouse or the Watauga County admin building. And it's going to be the admin building, so we'll have to make an amendment to,
No, it's just,
No,
that's
it's-
gonna be the alternate site, so we need to make that plan in our one-stop
Okay.
thing, that you are also requesting an alternate place rather than,
Okay.
I'm just trying to
Um,
help you.
okay. And one of the reasons that I chose the admin building versus the courthouse is because of the metal detectors for voting and also the size of the building. I think it's important to be in the Watauga County Administration Building where we are today. I think it's just, it's easier access as well as, just ground level. You're not walking the metal detector with sheriffs in front, especially with a primary for a sheriff race coming up. I think that's important.
Did anybody ever second
No, not
this?
yet. I'll second the motion for discussion.
Can I discuss? Are you
Yes, ma'am.
finished, Bill? You want to say more? Okay, Jane Ann, is he not required to have a maximum of 272 hours, or have I got that wrong?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's the maximum.
That's the
So-
minimum.
No, that's the minimum.
That's the minimum, so you could have 900 hours.
Yes.
Yep.
Just
Hey, I'm gonna
remember
go back
what,
and redo mine.
just remember, and that what you choose today for the primary of 2014 is the number of hours that we're gonna have to use for the primary in 2018. So the hours that we are controlled with today, 272 minimum hours, is because that's the number of hours that we had in 2010.
I see, yeah.
So whatever you choose today, you're tying yourself to those hours in 2018.
And from my research, over 2/3 of the other county boards in North Carolina actually decreased their number of early voting hours. And I think it's important to note that we've actually increased our hours in my plan for the early voting.
Okay, I have another question for Jane Ann. He's only given the administration, the administration building, this site, 61 hours instead of the 91 hours that you requested. And I think maybe there was some confusion thinking that the Board of Elections office had to have the same number as all the rest of these sites. But they don't. And I just wanted to know how having only 61 hours is going to impact your ability to do your job.
Do you mind if I answer that question first? My reasoning behind having, based on the number of hours, I wanted to keep it consistent. So my plan offers hours 8 to 4 at all locations, including the admin building as well as the other 4 locations in the county. And on Saturday, they'll all have the same hours. So it was important to be consistent with the hours and have 8 to 4 and then 8 to 1 on Saturday.
Okay, Jane Ann, how many people in the county, what percentage of the people in the county do you think are going to vote here instead of in the other precincts?
I'm not gonna answer your question, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
If you recall my duties that were adopted by this board in August, I prefer not to answer questions.
I would
unless I'm-
like to ask our chair to allow our director to answer my question.
This decision on one stop, or
Yes.
any board decision, is for us as a board to make. And the question you're asking is rather subjective as to what percentage do you think would show up? I mean, there's no way to really judge that. I can say that in the last presidential election, 13,000 people showed up to vote, but now this plan that I'm looking at here, let me finish, please.
I am.
That this plan I'm looking at here seems to provide geographic regions for all the voters so that people could not necessarily have to worry about trying to vote at here or some other close in-town site. If they live out of town, they could go to another site,
Okay,
like
well,
Blowing Rock.
I can address this when I talk about my own plan, so I will let this go for now. And, but it is, I think it is important to look at the history of the sites, not just, you know, conjecture. I agree with you that conjecture is not really helping anything, but I think that we have had a history and we do know certain things. We know that if the people who don't have a site in the county are probably either going to have to vote at some other site in the county or come into town, and that the past shows us that there are more people voting at the county courthouse than there are anywhere else. So to have it equivalent so that you have Deep Gap covered for 7 days, you know, with the same amount of hours as the county courthouse, I think there's a logical problem there where, you know, it's really not going to help us to, you know, to do this election well. So I'm sorry I put Jane on the spot, but I would like other questions if I address them to Jane Ann. I'm asking because I need to know, and she is our source of knowledge, and I would like to have permission from you to ask her questions when I need to.
It's her choice.
Oh, well, you just said she couldn't, so, can you just give her your permission and then we can proceed?
It's our decision. Even in the general statutes, it says the decision is up to us.
All right.
These are questions, be questions you could have asked them before the meeting.
Well, and Bill, you agree with him, is that correct?
I don't think it's fair to put our director on the spot for questions, and I think some of those could have been answered prior to the
All right.
meeting if there was a concern.
All right, okay, I'll ask you guys then. What factors, other than the ones that you've mentioned, did you consider in choosing your early voting locations? Can you speak to that, Bill?
Sure. I don't know if I detailed all the locations when I first spoke, but it's western Watauga, East Center and Cove Creek, which is off of Old 421. 321 to Old 421 is one of the locations. The Cove Creek area also serves the Beaver Dam, Laurel Creek, it even touches into the Brushy Fork area. Then the Meat Camp location off 194, it's at the Meat Camp Fire Department. So that's easily accessible to the folks who live out in the Green Valley School District. Meat Camp, Pottertown, down Meat Camp Road, and also the Stony Fork folks, Elk Creek, the Powderhorn, Deep Gap Fire Department. And we also considered
That's also located on the 421, correct?
it's right off of Old 421. Yeah.
No, the one you have here, that's US 421, that red line, isn't it?
Correct.
Okay.
So you finished?
And then Blowing Rock would be the fifth site.
So basically you have 4, not including the administration building, is that correct?
Correct, 5 total sites.
5 total sites, the Western Watauga Community Center, the Blowing Rock Town Hall, Deep Gap Fire Department, and Meat Camp Fire Department. And that's all. And each of those has 61 hours. Okay, did you consider the partisan breakdown of voters in areas served by your early voting sites?
I couldn't even tell you what the breakdown is.
Okay. Okay, that's all I'm going to ask you at the moment. I'm gonna just go ahead with mine. Can I go ahead with mine?
Well,
Is it fair?
we have a motion on the floor now.
Oh, to vote for this?
Yes, that's what.
Oh, okay, well then, I think, don't you think we should put the motion off
Well,
until we
you can-
finish discussing all the plans and then?
You can discuss your plan as a discussion within this.
That's what I said. I wanted to discuss my
During,
plan.
as discussion of this, you can discuss your plan
Yeah,
now,
okay.
yes, under discussion
Good,
of this.
all right. Then I have some stuff, I don't have a big sign, but what I do have is some copies of my thing you'll have to share, right? Here you go. This one. Okay. I'm gonna, how about if I do like, just like in a row? Well, no, I can't. I'm gonna let you look at it. I'm sorry, but I just didn't have enough time to make them all. Excuse me, do you see that thing?
I'm looking at it right now, but I'll let you look at it in a minute.
Pass this around. If I'd had time, I would have made more of them, but I didn't. I have something else here too. Should have brought that also. I'll take these to the back because they cover the same. Can I touch this online?
Where did you get that again?
Watauga County Voice of Voter Rights.
All right. Okay, I'll have to wing it. Okay, I'm going to just discuss this. I think I might have put my little speech over there in that pile of stuff you're passing around, so I'm just going to wing it. My plan, well, let me just first say that I wanted to give somebody some feedback here. I got a plan, and we all got a plan from Tom Rakowski, who had a fabulous plan. And his plan had 8 sites. It was very democratic. It covered the polling places. It was the polling places at ASU, at the courthouse, at the town council chambers, and just about virtually every other voting site. And it was excellent. He spent a lot of time on it, and I would suggest that if my colleagues wanted to do this, that I would definitely recommend this, and I would definitely vote for it. However, I have another one that I just made this afternoon because there were some things that had occurred when I was trying to decide on what to do. Oh, and by the way, I wanted to thank Tom because, Tom, where are you? He's way back there in the back. Thank you for spending all that time on that. And I'd also like to thank the people that came here and were here in the last couple of meetings, and everybody that's been really supportive about this. I wanted to, as I told you before, I wanted my plan to be almost as good as his plan in order to try to solve these problems that we seem to perpetually have. And so I went about trying to do that, but we got thrown for a loop because apparently we're not going to be able to use the Fosco area boat fire department, and so Fosco is out of the running here. We have about 3,486 people who were served in Fosco who will now probably end up coming into Boone to vote. I also took off Deep Gap before I even knew about Fosco. I thought that it might be a better idea to have only 6 voting sites so we could have more hours at the voting site, and they can go to either meat camp or they can go here. So I thought they had an alternative there at Deep Gap. They have very low numbers. Only at 2,088 people are registered to vote in Deep Gap. So I took them out, and then because of that, I then ended up with having no voting site in the whole southern part of the county. So I thought that didn't sound right. So what I wanted people to have an opportunity. So I added back in Blowing Rock in here, which I didn't have before. So the voting sites that I have are basically Meat Camp, Cove Creek. Someone had asked me if we could have it at the community center, the Western Watauga Community Center, and I put that in because I think there were a number of people that wanted that. We don't have Fosco. We have 8 precincts. Well, no, we did have 8 precincts in the Boone area, but if I take out Blowing Rock and Blue Ridge, we have only 6, but the rest of them still come to a mighty number. If you add back in the Fosco voters and the Deep Gap voters, that means that people voting in the Boone area precincts will amount to approximately 22,500 voters. That's 63% of the voting population in this county. And to me, it seems kind of crazy to only have 1 voting site as Bill proposed, because even if you divided it by the 3 that I'm asking for, which is the county courthouse, the Linville Falls Room, and the ASU Student Union, and the Town Hall Council Chambers, you'd still have 7,500 voters in each one of those precincts, which is more than all of the other precincts have. So I'm trying to be fair about this because I know that there's been a lot of heartache about the fact and anger about the fact that people who live out in the rural districts are discriminated against in some way because they don't get these sites. And I know if I was living way out in the middle of nowhere, I would prefer to go someplace close by rather than have to drive all the way into town. But we have to figure all this out, and it's it's a difficult thing. I also put the one-stop polling site at the county courthouse where Jane Ann is working in the Board of Elections rather than this room. And the reason that I did it is to save on money. Now the costs that we have for this election, this one-stop election, are a little different from the costs that we had in the last election. And the last election not being a one-stop, if you changed anything, you had to advertise it. So we had close to $5,000 worth of costs from that last election from moving the voting sites around. But that doesn't apply to the one-stop voting. So, it's not an issue. So the only thing that we're going to have to do is to pay people their salaries. It's all personnel. It's all salaries, and we have to pay those people their salaries for the hours that they're working. So we have, I thought 272 was the max, but apparently if we go with Bill, we have to pay somebody to put in 305 hours of work. And Jane Ann has to pay for that out of her budget. Now, she had told me, I did ask her this beforehand, that she has two people in that office who can act as, you know, who can handle the voting situation, like Donna, for instance. She's very good at that. And so if we have it over there, that's two people she doesn't have to pay the salary for. So the costs would be cheaper if we went with that. And that was the reason I changed it back over there. I agree with you guys that this is a nicer spot and it's bigger and so on, but I was trying to figure out how we could keep costs down, since that seemed to be a concern of the state board the last time we went through this. So, all right, so we have that, and these were the hours that I was going to have them open. Okay, so the number of hours calculated from the 2010 election was 272. I was going to give Jane and her 91 hours that she requested. That would be April. She does not have to be, the county courthouse does not have to have the same number of hours as everybody else, because I think it's generally acknowledged that the basic central polling site of boards of election is going to be more heavily serviced, more in need of having more people and more time. So the election goes from April the 24th to May the 3rd. And so that in that period there are 7 weekdays. And we would have it open from 7 in the morning till 6 at night. That would be 11 hours times 7 days. That would be 77 hours. Okay, then on the Saturday, April the 26th, she's allowed to have it 8 to 5 p.m. times 1 day. That's 9 hours. And Saturday, May 3rd, 8 to 1 day, that's 5 hours. That's a total of 91 hours. Okay, then you subtract the 91 hours from the 272, that gives you 181 hours. That 181 hours is divided by the 5 other precincts I am trying to do. And that would mean they each have 36 hours apiece, but that is divided into 5 days, so 7 hours a day they could be open. And I had them, I don't know if I have it here anymore because I lost my notes, but I had it in my notes, and you can correct me if I've got it here, right here in this.
Can I
Is
stop
this
can I
his
stop
or
you just
yours?
for a second?
Sure.
Ian, Jesse, can we have the sign-up sheet back, please?
Can I-
But the resolution says it will be at the back of the room.
Oh, it's in the room.
So if you'd like to set it in the back of the room, you're more than welcome to.
All right. Sure.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Sorry, I just want to make sure I know where it's at.
That's good, I needed time to find this. Okay, what I have the times down as would be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday would go from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. On Tuesday and Thursday it'd be 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that would be across the board for all of the 5 other sites. So we could get people who were traveling in the morning and people who were traveling, in the afternoon. And I discussed this with Janie, and she thought that it's very frequent that after 5 o'clock the traffic wears off. So I consulted with her on that issue, and that was the reason why I picked these hours, but I'm not married to them. Now, I wanted to just say to you and Bill that I am aware that it's very doubtful that you guys are going to pick my plan, and that you're probably going to pick your plan. But I would say to that I would be willing, in order to keep this from going to the state board and going through all of that stuff again and getting ourselves on YouTube, which they don't like, that we come up with some kind of a compromise. And my compromise would be that if we can get a site at the student union and a site here at the courthouse and a site at the the council, whatever you call it, the town. Don't get old, you know, I just have to tell you, you're just kind of find the simplest word. Anyway, the Boone Town Council. Anyway, if we could get that, you could do whatever you wanted with the rest of the county, and we would accept it. And so that is my offer to you, and you can take it or...
I don't think it's something we should be bargaining over, early voting locations.
That's all I've got, Bill.
I have a problem with using that as a, trying to, that doesn't help the citizens of our county by trying to use these as bargaining chips. If you look at the general statute, as far as the duties of the county board of elections, provide a safe, secure, fair, and honest election. And I think, as a board, I think we've done a good job of that in our history. And, we've increased the voter turnout. The last municipal election, we increased the voter turnout by over 30%. So as you look at this board, I think, I feel very strongly that this one-stop plan will do that and will benefit all citizens of the county. So that's why I support this plan.
Is there any further discussion? All right, I'll call the question on the main motion that Mr. Rosito made. All in favor of the one-stop plan on the main motion Mr. Rosito made? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All
No.
opposed? Okay, next order of business is new business. I would like to take a 15-minute recess to let people sign up on the public speaking comment.
Why should we sign up? You just took the vote.
Okay, so I would
What's
like to
the
make,
point?
I would like to make a motion to recess for 15 minutes to let people sign up for public comment.
Discussion is supposed to be before
Is
the
there
vote, not
a
after.
second?
I second that motion.
All in favor?
No.
Aye.
No.
No.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman, would you explain so that this gentleman can be quiet?
We've recessed. I think we're good. We'll recess 15 minutes. That'll be 6 or 5 after 6. If anyone would like to sign up for public comment, it's in the back of the room.
Why? What did you just do?
Not required.
Those going to be the polling places for the general and regular elections? Or just
Goes both ways.
Just forever.
That'd be hilarious.
Yes.
I think she has to. No, I really shouldn't. It'd be priceless. The best people to figure it out. They keep getting
Do you have someone that's going to read minutes? Oh, the Jane Ann thing is going to be serious. Will you man this for a few minutes? Do you see where it's pointed? It needs to stay that way or follow the way when you're injured.
Wait,
I know.
do you want me to tilt it? Okay.
Yeah, that should be made clear. They say it's disruptive to their They hurt me.
Listen, I like your patriotic shirt.
Red and gray?
I thought it was navy blue. Not that navy blue is your Can you hear me now? Apparently there's a Verizon scam. Did you hear about it?
Not bad.
Apparently they call you and text you. They get you to do something, don't fall for it. Like I'm slowly realizing more and
Then not take it. Yeah, we don't want to.
20 hours.
Jesse, come here. Who is that?
Oh.
Do you see?
Yeah, I don't know.
He looks like it.
Although we'll just, I mean, this is not as catchy as that. Well, I
Yeah, Luke, what can I do for you? Irony, Luke, irony. Fairness, coming from you.
They take away the full legislature of the university because they can do it now. That would not be fair. Even if we talk about it.
Jesse, are you getting it?
What about ASU with your sign there? How could you hold that up when you're excluding us? That's not right. That's not right. I think that is not acceptable. Have you ever had problems? Have you had to stand in line as a student? The students stand in line for hours to be class.
Ma'am, imagine yourself in your 70s and you don't know that.
I'm saying the students need a place to go.
Students
No, have you been downtown? Have you been here with courts? It's wrong to have fair versus fair. Y'all have just taken away the students.
The students still have the right to go and have things on their behalf. Because they can walk down here and just like everybody else.
And they can vote absentee by mail. You volunteer, we have time to watch it. I did. I took my day. I took it out of my paycheck. And it was something wonderful. And that Jane did an excellent job. She did. And not took it away.
Tons.
Hey, girl. I'm pretty positive.
Keep moving.
Go out with that. No. Who's that? Oh. I get it. How much longer was the recess?
It was 15 minutes.
Okay, it'll be over in 30 seconds. Just like because they never did.
Should I switch sides? I don't know which one that is, but I'm hoping you'll share with me.
Okay. All right, we'll call this meeting back into order. The first speaker is Susan Adams.
Hello, everybody.
Susan Adams.
I'm right here.
You want to start?
There's the-
As well as any other mic here.
When Miss Hodges, when you're ready, just notify the speaker.
Ready. If you want to say again.
Well, I was one of the people, probably with a lot of people that are here, attended the open meeting that we had. And Mr. Cito was quoted in the paper as saying that 90% of those people that were at the open meeting said that we should have an early voting place at ASU. So I'm wondering why, if 90% of the people that were there said ASU should be in place, why wasn't that included as a voting place in your plan? And that's my question. And if you choose not to answer it, that's fine. But I find it appalling that 90% of those people thought that's where a voting place should be, but you omitted it from your plan.
Trying to figure out what the 90% was standing for, so thank you for clarifying that.
Yes, you did. Miss Hodges, when you're ready.
You forgot what you said in the paper? It's right here. What you said.
And it's not a joke.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yes. I'm just here today as a student. I know that I've talked before you all a lot before, and you all know that I certainly favor a site at the ASU Student Union. I just want to say that I find it appalling that you would listen to the people, or seem to listen to the people, and then do exactly the opposite of what they say. Imagine if somebody voted for overwhelmingly for something, and then you ignore it. That's not what our government's made of. Our government is made of people of elected officials and appointed officials who respect the people, who respect the voters, and that's not what you're doing. And I'm so concerned over that. You guys can put up a map, and you guys can disperse things geographically, but you're ignoring population centers, and you're ignoring history. You're ignoring the fact that the ASU Student Union has been one of the most successful early voting sites in recent years. You're ignoring the fact, the history behind this, the fact that it's been used since 2006, and I don't understand why. I don't understand why you're ignoring the people. I don't understand why you're making it more difficult for students to vote, for community members to vote. It has the most accessible parking, it's the closest to transportation hubs, it's ADA accessible, and you're ignoring it, and I don't understand why.
Stella Anderson is our next speaker.
So you hate Democrats?
No, I said you paid by the Democrats.
All right, let's keep
I'm a voter,
this
man.
civil, please. Thank you.
Stella?
There are 61 hours at your 5 sites, and you referred to it, I believe your word was even-handed. 61 hours for this spot right here. You know the distribution of registered voters in this county. You're responsible for knowing. And if you were honest, that's 20% of the hours. 61 is 20% of 300 and whatever it is. This site will serve approximately 80% of this county's registered voters, and the 4 locations that you put out in the county, which is good to put them out in the county. The point is you have plenty of hours to go around. You're putting 4 sites out in the county that take up 80% of the hours, and it's going to, at best, serve about 20% of this county's voters. You're responsible for knowing the partisan breakdown of what these various sites will serve. The 4 that you're putting in those 4 areas are 40% Republican. That's partisan. That's partisan. You act like that putting sites in Boone is somehow taking away from your ability to put them out in the county. That's a false argument. You had 272 hours. There were plenty of hours to go around, and it should have been matched to the population of voters. And approximately 80% of this county's voters are in and around Boone.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having this meeting. I would like to commend you on your selections. I live out 221 towards the Caldwell-Avery corner of the county. I think it's about time, after decades of not having voter sites out in the county around Watauga County. That's a very fair approach for all the citizens there. Allows them, different people with different schedules, to try to accommodate what their lifestyle is and get out to the polls rather than having to drive 30 minutes into Boone, try to find parking so that they can early vote. So I appreciate the equitable distribution of voting locations throughout the state. And I guess I'd like to address the 90% thing. I think 99% of the county was not here, so maybe 90% of the people that were here were supporting that, but I think that's just a very small part of what the overall population of the county is. There's a lot of people who can't get here in the evenings from outside the county, and again, I think that speaks to the point of people not wanting to drive into Boone for voting all the time. So I hope you continue this in the future. As a county resident, I certainly appreciate a little easier access to voting. Thank you.
Thank you. Jocelyn Hunt.
I just wanted, this is not where I'm going, but I'm also a county resident who happens to come into Boone to vote every single time. But I don't know why people get up here and talk, because you guys don't clearly listen to what they're saying anyway. But I just wanted to say that I'm very, very, very disappointed that as the people who are supposed to make sure that democracy in this county is fair and it is put out equally, you guys don't do a very good job at it. And that is disappointing to me, and I do not respect you as a result. And as a student and as a county resident, I do not understand.
They need to state their name
Yes.
according to our rules. Sorry.
Do it, just hold
Okay, sorry.
State your name, please, before you address.
Pam Williamson, good evening, and I guess I'm the only one here tonight who wasn't surprised at what you were gonna do. You should be ashamed of yourself, of course, for inviting people to come and speak, and then admitting in the paper that 90% of them wanted something that you never had any intention of giving them. I don't think anybody here is really fooled by that, at least I never was. What you've done with your plan, I just want this to be on the record, is a calculated and deliberate attempt to disenfranchise and suppress the votes of young people and progressive voters, both unaffiliates who tend to vote Democratic ballots as well as Democrats. And I've been working on your plan, so that's why I have these numbers. Really quickly, 75% of the voting population is now going to be expected to come and vote here, with the same number of hours as Deep Gap, Cove Creek, Meat Camp, and Blowing Rock, which Deep Gap has 2% of registered voters, Cove Creek has 10%, Meat Camp has 7%, and Blowing Rock has 6%. So, your plan, the intent behind your plan is not a surprise. I would encourage you in your spare time, it's kind of weird to have public hearing after the vote, but you might want to go back and take a look at Cove Creek and Fosco and what happened there when the early voting was allowed. The people drove past those areas and came to Boone to vote in those locations. But since you didn't consider geography, and you didn't, and since you didn't consider partisanship or race or age, I'm not surprised you didn't consider that either. This is a blatant discrimination, and it's against the U.S. Constitution, the Voting Rights Act of 1965, and the state constitution. And I will be making sure that the state board knows that as well. I have a breakdown. I disagree with Kathleen's breakdown about where the voters will come from, but I'd be glad to share that with you anytime if you're ever interested in any kind of real information.
Good evening. I'm here today not only as the student body president of Appalachian State University, Dylan Russell, but as a resident of Watauga County, someone who was born and raised in Boone, North Carolina, and most importantly, I'm here today as a citizen and advocate of the democratic process. I'm left discouraged by the decision tonight. I'm left questioning what is the real agenda of tonight's decision. What message do the actions of this board send to the Appalachian community, which is intrinsically linked to the success of Watauga County? What message does this send not only to the Appalachian community, but to the entire state of North Carolina? Let me be clear with this. Any revisions to voting policies and procedures should only serve to make voting more accessible and guarantee civic participation. And Mr. Aceto said our job is to be fair. I would like to know, where's the fairness in tonight's decision? This board owes not only the 17,000 students, but also the 3,000 community members that work at Appalachian State University an explanation. The board also owes the Student Senate, which unanimously passed a resolution calling for voting to be on campus, an explanation as well. And so I just ask that we not forget about the success of ASU's voting campus and that we work to restore that to campus. It is a place where there's ample voting and ADA accessible. And so let's work to see it get back. Thank you.
Anne Marie Yates, 789 Stadium Drive. I'd like to start by saying I am a lifelong resident of this county, and I love Watauga County, and I love everyone that lives here. 66% of voters are rural. I'd like to thank you for respecting the rural voters who have been suppressed for many years, and thank you for reversing the previous plan that favored urban Democrats. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Janet Montgomery.
Good evening.
Your name?
Janet Montgomery from Vilas, and I represent Watauga County Voice for Voter Rights, which is a nonpartisan association.
A little lower, Ken.
Okay. I represent Watauga County Voice for Voter Rights, which is a nonpartisan association. And my question to you is, what was bad about the compromise? Can you elucidate that for me? Is there any response? I know you don't have to engage in a dialogue, but what was bad about the compromise offering? No answer. I'm very sorry to hear that. It's very discouraging because I think compromise is where we need to be. Thank you.
Dan DeLue, sorry if I butchered your name, sir.
No, it's okay. Just a couple
Your name,
questions,
sir.
I guess.
Your name.
My name, Dan Vayu from Vilas. Just a couple things. Was I correct in that the early voting was going to be 8 to 4? I know your proposal was wider, but is it 8 to 4?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 8 to 4. Have you guys ever worked an hourly job? How is a person going to get here working those hours? I mean, the other proposal, 7 to 6, allowed a normal working person to come in early or come in late or in back and forth. 8 to 4 is exclusionary.
It's museum hours.
Oh, yeah. Okay, and another thing, if 50–60% of the voters are going to vote here, where we park, I can't even park here outside with these people when the stores are all closed down. Where do you propose we park to get here? You don't have a proposal, do you? All right? And you mentioned that the state required 200 and some odd hours of voting, and everybody thinks that's the minimum. Why the heck are you shooting for the minimum? Why don't you rise above that and make it easier so we can have more voting things? Not the bare minimum, not because somebody in Caldwell County or some other county has it. That's crap. We live here.
Our last speaker is Terry Cole.
My name is Terry Cole. I want to start with the premise that as appointed officials to protect the voting process of this county, your job is to represent the best interest of all of the citizens of the county. I would point out, secondly, that the most basic fundamental First Amendment right we have as a registered voter is to voice our vote on Election Day. And to the degree that you limit our opportunity to cast our vote, and we've already heard a number of reasons how that's done, the hours, the polling places, everything else, you are limiting the First Amendment rights of the citizens of Watauga County. And I would finally point out that given the dynamics of the registration of this county, it's very clear to everyone exactly why you're doing that, because you're engaging in a conscious effort to make sure that certain people don't cast their ballot in Watauga County. And I don't think that's your responsibility as an appointed official.
Okay, I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Okay, meeting is
Yeah.
adjourned.
Shame.
Shame on you.
Shame on you.
Shame on you.
Nothing new there.
Nothing new. Shame on you. Glad y'all did what your buddy's supposed to do.
Shouldn't be on any club.
Thank you.
Jesse, you copied Glenn?
I think you're doing the right thing. Make it everybody American. Thanks so much. I think you're doing it. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Anything else exciting?
And I don't think anybody is looking at the problem is that y'all perfectly to put hours out in if it's really bad quality. Whenever y'all take minutes on one of those stations, Bosco. I was actually there. I saw your
I'll take a late check. There's, okay.
She didn't. No, and I don't have a place to she said she might. We'll continue. She said that she.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not ashamed of that. I'm proud to find some bird out of
We'll talk about when you get off. We'll talk about it tomorrow.
Excuse me, ma'am. I just want to say I find it very disrespectful. I'm a citizen of this county the same way that you are. And for you to say that I shouldn't be able to talk because I support candidates that I do is absolutely rude. You support your candidates, I support mine. The fact that I should, excuse me, don't interrupt me. The fact that I have not been able, that I should not be able to speak. Okay,
You know, you have been
very rude. Thank you.
very rude several times to me.